Chosen one. Stop for a moment. Heaven has paused everything to reach you right now. You may think this is just another message, another voice among thousands. But listen carefully. Today is not like yesterday. There is a test unfolding, even as you hear these words. It will not come from a stranger. It will not arrive from an enemy you can easily recognize. No. Today, the test will come through the very person you trust the most. This is why you must pay attention, because the enemy cannot strike you where you are watchful. He strikes where your guard is down, and often, that place is the heart you have opened to someone close. The danger of betrayal is not the wound from an outsider. It is the hidden blade from a familiar hand. You are not being warned to live in suspicion, but to live in discernment. The test that comes today is not to destroy you, but to reveal you, like a diamond pressed under weight, like wheat shaken in the wind. You will discover what is unshakable within you. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff with fog covering the valley. You do not know where the next step lands, but you hear the whisper, "Trust me." That is what God is saying to you right now. The person you trust most may become the very instrument that tests the weight of your faith. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. This verse is not only about fear of danger, it is about the fear that rises when trust breaks. It is about the trembling inside when the one you relied on suddenly shifts. And yet, God reminds you, you have not been given a spirit of fear. You have been given power to endure, love to overcome bitterness, and a sound mind to see through deception. Chosen one. Today's trial will tempt you to respond with anger, with despair, or with silence that hardens your heart. But do not fall into that trap. The test is not about them. The test is about you. Will you trust God when the one you leaned on lets you down? Will you remember that His Spirit within you is greater than the betrayal in front of you? Think of Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold by the very ones who shared his blood. They thought they had buried his dreams, but what they truly did was send him on a path that only God could orchestrate. The pit was painful, the prison was lonely, but the palace awaited. Your story carries the same pattern. Betrayal may be the doorway to your next elevation. Do not ignore this message. It is not coincidence. It is divine alignment. If your heart beats faster as you hear this, it is because the Spirit is marking you, awakening you. I ask you now, not as a demand, but as an act of agreement with heaven. If this resonates in your spirit, then pause and show it. Press like. Share this with another chosen one who might be walking into their valley. And subscribe so you do not miss the next prophetic word. And if you feel the weight of this word deeply, leave a comment below. Write the number 717 as a prophetic reminder of 2 Timothy 1-7 that you are not ruled by fear, but empowered by love and strength. This is your sign. This is your preparation. Today you are being sharpened, not destroyed. You are being tested, not forsaken. You are chosen. And heaven is watching how you respond when trust is shaken. You know the sting of betrayal cuts deeper than the sharpest blade, not because of the wound itself, but because of who delivered it. The closer the hand, the heavier the pain. A stranger's insult can roll off your back, but a friend's silence a loved one's sudden shift that lingers in the soul. It is like walking through familiar streets and finding them suddenly unfamiliar. Like a house you've always known, but whose windows now feel cold and unwelcoming. There was once a chosen one who trusted fully, who poured out their heart into a friendship that seemed unbreakable. They prayed together, laughed together, and shared secrets no one else could hold. And then, one day, without warning, that trust cracked. Words were twisted, intentions were doubted, and what was once solid ground became quicksand. Have you been there too? That moment when you look at someone you trusted most and realize they hold a knife behind their back. The pain is real, and God does not dismiss it. He does not call you weak for feeling the hurt. Instead, He allows it to shape you. Sometimes, betrayal is like fire. It burns, but it also purifies. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 12 to 14, if an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe rose against me, I could hide. But it is you, my companion, my close friend in God's house. These ancient words mirror exactly what you have felt. It is not the enemy's attack that crushes, but the breaking of trust from a familiar voice, a shared table, a once-joined prayer. Yet even in this, God is not absent. Betrayal feels like being pushed into darkness, but it is in the dark that you discover how bright your inner light shines. When others walk away, you learn to stand taller than before. When the trusted hand turns against you, you find the only hand that never fails, God's. Remember David, the man after God's own heart. He knew what it was to be hunted not only by enemies, but by those he once trusted. His psalms echo with cries of anguish, yet also with unwavering faith. He teaches us that pain can live alongside praise, that tears can fall, while trust still rises. Your tears, chosen one, are not wasted. Each one waters the soil of your future victory. Each wound becomes the place where new strength is planted. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being reformed. Like clay on the potter's wheel, it hurts when he presses, but he is shaping you into a vessel fit for his glory. So, when betrayal visits, do not see it as abandonment. See it as revelation. The mask is lifted, and you now know who truly walks with you. This is not to make you bitter, it is to make you wiser. For every person who walks out, God draws you one step closer to His own presence, and though the betrayal stings, you will not stay wounded. This pain is not the end. It is the opening chapter of something greater. Trust that. Hold to that. Because even in the ache, God is preparing a table before you. In the very presence of those who once doubted you, what feels like betrayal often hides a mystery. To the natural eye, it looks like loss, humiliation, or rejection. But to the spiritual eye, it is the sharpening tool of God. The wound you received is not random, it is purposeful. Imagine a sculptor with a block of marble. Each strike of the chisel looks violent, like destruction. But slowly, through every painful strike, an image begins to appear. That is what God is doing in you through this hurt. He is carving away what cannot remain, so the true masterpiece of your calling is revealed. The story of Joseph shows us this clearly. Betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused in Potiphar's house, forgotten in prison, Yet every injustice was an instrument in God's hand. Without the betrayal, there would be no Egypt. Without the prison, there would be no palace. Without the pit, there would be no prophecy fulfilled. You may wonder, why would God allow this? Because the place of hurt often becomes the place of harvest. Pain is not wasted when it is held in God's hands. Your wound is the soil where faith grows roots so deep that no storm can tear it up. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 119, verse 71. It was good for me to be afflicted, so that I might learn your decrees. Lord, David looked back at his pain and called it good, not because it felt good, but because it produced good. The affliction became his teacher, guiding him deeper into the ways of God. So too, your betrayal is not your burial, it is your schooling. Heaven is training you for authority. Think about gold refined in fire. It does not sparkle until the heat strips away impurities. Your trial is the fire. The betrayal is the heat. But the result is priceless, a chosen one who carries purity, authority, and resilience that cannot be faked. This is why you cannot despise what happened. You may not understand it yet, but one day you will say, like Joseph, what they meant for evil, God meant for good. The very act that tried to break you will be the proof that you were never breakable. And now, I want you to seal this moment, not just by listening, but by engaging. Write in the comments below these 3 simple words: I choose growth. And why? Because when you declare it, you break the cycle of bitterness. You refuse to let betrayal define you. You take ownership of the pain by turning it into purpose. And your words are not just for you, they will encourage another chosen one scrolling through, who needs to see that someone else has chosen hope over hurt. Say it boldly, because heaven listens. And as you type it, imagine those words being written not just on a screen, but on your heart, reminding you your pain is producing power. Your pain is not wasted. Your tears are not ignored. Each moment of betrayal becomes a stepping stone. The very wound that tried to silence you will be remembered as the place where your true voice emerged. And if you are trembling right now, know this: trembling does not mean failing. It means the roots are going deeper. The more the storm shakes, the stronger you will stand. Growth is never comfortable, but it is always worth it. This moment is your shaping. This is your divine classroom. And when you pass this test, you will walk with a wisdom that no one can take away from you. There is a pattern woven into the story of every chosen life, a pattern that repeats like a shadow on the path. The pattern is betrayal by someone close. Scripture reveals it. History confirms it. Your own journey whispers it. And this pattern has a name, the Judas pattern. Jesus, the Son of God, surrounded himself with 12 men. They walked with him, witnessed his miracles, shared meals, and heard words no one else could hear. Yet among them was Judas, a companion who smiled in the daylight but plotted in the dark. The betrayal was not from Rome, not from strangers in the streets, but from within his circle. This is the lesson. Every chosen one will face a Judas, not because God delights in pain, but because destiny requires it. Without Judas, there is no cross. Without the cross, there is no resurrection. Betrayal becomes the stage where redemption is revealed. Think of it like a seed buried underground. The soil presses hard, heavy, suffocating. But that pressure is what cracks the seed open, making room for new life. Judas was the soil around Jesus, pressing hard, but unknowingly helping the seed of salvation break open. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Zechariah. Chapter 13, verse 6. If someone asks, "What are these wounds on your body?" they will answer, "The wounds I was given at the house of my friends." And even the prophets foresaw it. Wounds at the hand of friends are different. They carry a weight that enemies could never match. And yet, they also carry a hidden glory, for they set the chosen apart from the crowd. You may be facing your Judas right now. It could be someone who smiles in front of you but whispers behind your back. It could be someone who once held your hand but now holds your weakness against you. The shock is real, the pain is sharp. But remember, this is part of the chosen path. When Judas walked out of the room, Jesus did not chase him. He let him go. That moment teaches us something vital. Not every loss is meant to be prevented. Some departures are sacred. Some betrayals are necessary for the door to your destiny to open. Certain people must exit. It is difficult to accept. We want loyalty, stability, and lasting companionship. But the call of God does not rest on comfort. It rests on obedience. Sometimes obedience means standing still while Judas walks away. Do not misunderstand. This is not an invitation to bitterness. It is an invitation to perspective. Judas was not greater than the plan of God, and neither are the ones who betray you. Their choices may cut, but their actions cannot cancel the promise written over your life. The Judas pattern is heavy, but it is also holy. It marks you as chosen. It reminds you that your story follows the same sacred footsteps as the Savior himself. And if he endured it and rose in glory, so will you. This is why your Judas does not end your story. It only shifts you toward the chapter that must come. Every cut becomes a compass. Every betrayal becomes a bridge. And while you may walk through the sting of rejection, remember, the path of the chosen is never without pain, but it is always crowned with purpose. Nothing in your life happens by accident. Not even the words you are hearing now. Not even the wound that feels fresh in your heart. For those who are chosen, every detail is written into a greater design. What seems like chaos is choreography. What feels like loss is often alignment. Sometimes you may look back and wonder, why did it have to be this way? Why through the very person I trusted? The truth is this: God is not careless with your pain. He allows certain moments to pierce you, not because he delights in your tears, but because he knows the refining cannot come any other way. Think of a tapestry being woven. From the backside, all you see are tangled threads, knots, and colors that make no sense. But when the cloth is turned over, a perfect design emerges. Right now, you may be staring at the tangled side of your story, yet heaven already sees the masterpiece forming, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 26, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." On what looks hidden, what feels unfair, will one day be revealed in clarity. God's hand has not slipped. His plan has not failed. He is simply writing a chapter that requires you to trust before you see. Do you remember how Joseph's betrayal carried him into Egypt? The brothers thought they had ended him, but in truth, they positioned him. Years later, when famine struck, The very ones who betrayed him came to him for help. The pit was never random. The betrayal was never wasted. It was all part of a greater rescue plan. So too with you. The betrayal today is not punishment. It is preparation. What looks like loss is shaping the strength you will need when your calling demands it. Without the shaking, your roots would stay shallow. Without the breaking, your oil would never flow. This is not an easy truth. Your heart longs for peace, for trust that holds, for love that never bends. And one day, God will bring those steady hands into your life. But for now, He is showing you something greater, that even if human loyalty fails, His loyalty never does. Now, pause with me here. Imagine your life as a lamp in the dark. Each act of faith you take, each prayer, each surrender adds oil to that lamp. And when you share your flame with others, the darkness recedes. In the same way, when you engage with this message, when you press like, when you share it with someone who needs light, when you choose to subscribe, so you remain in this stream of truth, you are not just clicking a button, you are pouring oil into your own lamp and passing the flame to another soul who is stumbling in the night. Think of it not as duty, but as worship, not as pressure, but as planting seeds of light. For every act of engagement is like saying, I choose to keep my flame burning. I choose to carry light into someone else's darkness. Chosen one. Today's test is not random. Today's pain is not wasted. And your decision to hold this word, to carry it, to spread it, is part of that divine choreography. Heaven is watching, and heaven is weaving. Even now, there is a holy fire that few are willing to walk through. It does not come as lightning from the sky, nor as earthquakes under the ground. It comes quietly, in the form of misunderstanding. To be misunderstood is its own kind of furnace. Words you never spoke are twisted. Motives you never carried are questioned. You try to explain, yet explanation only deepens the suspicion. This is the fire of refinement, and if you are chosen, you cannot escape it. The enemy does not simply attack you with external storms. He tries to smother your spirit through the judgment of those closest to you. But God allows it, for fire proves what is genuine. Like silver in the crucible, your worth shines brightest when the flames lick against your edges. Heat reveals impurities, burning away what cannot remain. The misunderstanding you endure today is not meaningless. It is melting away fear, doubt, and the need for everyone to approve of you. The ancient words recorded in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 18 remind us, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." Ole, gold is never found shining in the ground. It is hidden in rock, mixed with dust, invisible to the eye. Only fire brings it to the surface. That is why your misunderstanding feels so heavy, because God is drawing out the gold in you. Think of Daniel in Babylon. He prayed faithfully, yet was accused falsely. His loyalty to God was seen as rebellion against the king. That misunderstanding led him into the lion's den. But in the den, God showed His glory. What looked like ruin became revelation. So it is with you. The misunderstanding you endure today may feel like rejection, but it is actually preservation. God is preserving your character, teaching you not to lean on human applause, but to stand on His approval alone. There is an image here. Picture a violin string stretched tight. The tension feels unbearable. Yet, without that stretching, no music would ever come forth. You are that string. Heaven is pulling you taut so that your life may produce a sound no one has heard before. And now I want you to anchor this truth with a prophetic act. Go to the comments and write the number 808. Why 808? Because 8 marks new beginnings. And when it is doubled, it speaks of breakthrough upon breakthrough. The 0 between them represents the cycle of refining fire. You are in the process that seems endless but actually encircles you with God's presence. By declaring 808, you are saying, "This fire will not end me. It is birthing my new beginning." When you see your own comment, let it remind you that the furnace is temporary, but the gold is eternal. And when others see it, they too will remember that every fire leads somewhere, that the chosen always emerge, shining brighter. Chosen one, let the furnace burn. For when the flames die down, only gold will remain, and that gold is you. Do not fear the fire. Do not resent the stretching, for just as dawn always follows the night, your refining will always lead to rising. The very flames that feel like loss will become the proof that you carry a light no darkness can touch. There are battles that everyone can see, and there are battles fought in silence. The silent ones are the heaviest. No audience, no applause, no one to explain your tears to, just you, your heart, and God. This is the hidden battlefield of the chosen. Outwardly, you may smile. Outwardly, you may keep walking. But inwardly, the questions echo. Why did this happen? Why would someone I trusted do this? Am I truly strong enough to endure? It is here, in this quiet ache, that your spirit learns resilience. The sleepless nights, the prayers whispered into the darkness, the tears no one sees, all of them are part of your strengthening. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 19, "The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights." End verse. Notice the imagery. A deer climbing rocky cliffs, moving with grace where others would stumble. That is what God is forming in you during your silent battles. You may not understand it now, but your footing is being trained for higher ground. Consider Elijah. After the triumph on Mount Carmel, after fire fell from heaven, he ran into the wilderness and collapsed under a broom tree. There, alone, he prayed to die. The prophet who had just faced hundreds of false prophets with courage now fought despair in silence. And yet, it was in that wilderness that God whispered, not in wind, not in earthquake, not in fire, but in a gentle voice. Your silent battle is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that God is drawing closer, speaking softer, inviting you to lean not on noise, but on His presence. There is an image I want you to hold, a seed buried underground. Nobody sees it. Nobody applauds it. In fact, if someone looked, it would appear lifeless. But beneath the soil, roots are forming. Strength is being gathered. What is hidden now will one day push through the surface. Green and undeniable. That seed is you. Your hidden struggle is not the end. It is preparation for the breaking forth. Silent battles also reveal the difference between appearance and essence. Anyone can appear strong when the crowd is watching. True strength, however, is forged when no one notices, when no one claps, when the only witness is heaven, and heaven does not miss a single tear. David, before he became king, endured this silence. He was anointed while still young, yet sent back to tend sheep. Lions came, bears attacked, alone, with no one to praise him. He fought. Those hidden victories prepared him for Goliath. Had he not won in silence, he could not have triumphed in public. So, too, with you. The unseen nights you have survived are not wasted. They are storing strength for the giant you will face. And when your moment of public testing comes, you will draw from the reservoir of victories already won in private. It is tempting, in these hidden battles, to believe you are forgotten. But remember, silence is not abandonment. It is incubation. The cocoon is not punishment to the caterpillar, it is transformation. Wings are being formed where no one can see them yet. Chosen one, if you are fighting in silence, know this: you are not losing. You are being trained. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. And when the season shifts, what was hidden will testify of the strength God planted deep within you. Discernment is the dividing line between the chosen and the crowd. Where others react with emotion, you are called to see with clarity. The test you face is not only about enduring betrayal, it is about learning to look beyond words, beyond gestures, beyond the surface of things, into the heart of what is truly happening. Anyone can be fooled by appearances. A smile can hide an agenda. A compliment can cloak manipulation. A handshake can conceal betrayal. That is why God sharpens your spirit in seasons like this, not so that you live in suspicion, but so that you live in discernment. Discernment is not guessing. Discernment is not cynicism. It is the Spirit of God within you, granting vision sharper than the natural eye. It is the ability to hear the tone beneath the words, to sense the motive beneath the action, to feel the shift in the atmosphere, even when nothing looks unusual. We find in the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 27, "The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that sheds light on one's inmost being." This lamp within you exposes what eyes alone cannot see. That is why you sometimes feel unsettled, even when everything looks fine. It is the Spirit stirring your discernment, whispering, "Pay attention." Think of Samuel when he went to anoint the next king of Israel. Jesse lined up his sons. Tall, strong, impressive. Samuel almost poured oil on the wrong one, but God stopped him. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Without discernment, Israel would have had a crown on the wrong head. With discernment, David was revealed, the shepherd overlooked by everyone else. Discernment often comes at the cost of disappointment. You may discover that someone's smile was a mask. You may see motives that others cannot. This can feel like a burden, like knowing too much. But in reality, it is a gift, a safeguard for your destiny. For without discernment, you would walk into traps meant to delay or destroy your calling. There is an image here. Think of a lighthouse on a foggy night. Ships see only the mist and the waves, but the light cuts through, pointing the way. Warning of hidden rocks. Your discernment is that light. Others may not understand why you pause, why you pull back, why you no longer trust so easily, but it is because you see what they cannot. Jesus himself walked in constant discernment. He knew Judas's heart long before the kiss of betrayal. He understood the thoughts of the Pharisees even before they voiced their questions. This did not make him paranoid, it made him prepared. Discernment does not breed fear, it builds readiness. And understand this, discernment also protects your heart. Without it, betrayal can leave you bitter. With it, you recognize the attack for what it is, not random cruelty, but spiritual resistance. When you discern, you no longer wrestle against flesh and blood. You see the unseen war, and you choose your battles wisely. So, when betrayal arises, do not rush into anger. Pause. Ask God, what is truly happening here? What is the lesson hidden inside this wound? What is the mask being lifted? That prayer alone will shift you from confusion into clarity. Chosen one, your discernment is being sharpened in this season. Every misunderstanding, every betrayal, every quiet stirring in your spirit is training your inner sight. And soon, you will walk with such clarity that no trap will ensnare you, and no disguise will deceive you. When the foundation of trust begins to shake, everything around you feels unstable. The ground that once felt firm suddenly crumbles. A word from someone you trusted becomes a dagger. A glance becomes a wound. And you ask yourself, if I cannot lean on them, who can I lean on? This shaking of trust is not punishment, it is redirection. God is teaching you that no human foundation, no matter how secure it looks, can bear the full weight of your destiny. Only His presence can. People may support you for a time, but they were never meant to be the anchor of your soul. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 11, "For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ." This means when others fall short, when trust breaks, you are not left without ground beneath you. The rock has already been laid, steady and immovable. Betrayal hurts, but it is also a reminder to stand on what cannot shift. Consider Peter. He loved Jesus, yet even he denied him 3 times. If the Son of God himself experienced denial from a close friend, do not think it strange when you encounter the same. But notice what Jesus did. He restored Peter, showing that his mission was never built on fragile human loyalty, but on divine grace. There is an image here. Picture a tree in a storm. Branches snap, leaves scatter, but the roots remain. The storm is loud, violent, and unsettling. Yet when it passes, the roots dig deeper, and the tree stands taller. Betrayal may strip away branches in your life, but your roots anchored in God will only grow stronger. Do not despise the shaking. Without it, you might continue to lean too heavily on fragile supports. With it, you learn to stand where no betrayal can move you. What looks like collapse is often construction. What feels like loss is God clearing space for something unshakable. David expressed this beautifully in the Psalms when he wrote, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer." He had felt the sting of betrayal from Saul, from his own son Absalom, and even from friends. Yet he discovered that God was the only foundation that could not be overthrown. And this is where your journey is leading you, to a place where you can stand, even if everyone else walks away, to a strength that no rumor, no betrayal, no shifting loyalty can take. A foundation built not on sand, but on the rock eternal. Now, I want you to seal this truth. Go into the comments and write the words, "God is enough." And just 3 words. Simple, but powerful. By writing it, you are declaring that even if every other foundation shakes, you remain steady because your trust is rooted in Him. And your words may be the reminder another weary soul needs to see that God alone is enough. Always. Chosen one. Let the shaking come, for when the dust settles, you will find yourself standing not weaker, but unshakable. The storm does not expose your weakness. It reveals your true foundation. And though betrayal feels like an earthquake, its purpose is to shake away the sand, so only the rock remains beneath your feet. This is not the end of your stability, it is the beginning of a deeper one. Unbreakable and eternal. Your light, though you may not see it, is disruptive. It unsettles darkness. It disturbs hidden motives. It exposes what others hoped would remain concealed. This is why you often feel attacked, not for what you do, but simply for who you are. You carry an anointing that makes people uncomfortable. The truth is, some are not rejecting you, they are reacting to the light you carry. Just as dawn breaks the grip of night, your presence alone shifts atmospheres. According to what is revealed in the book of John, chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Darkness never wins against light, but the moment light appears, shadows fight to survive. That explains the resistance you face. It is not weakness in you, it is fear in them. Your glow reveals what is hidden, and not everyone can bear to be seen. Think of a candle in a cave. The cave has been dark for centuries, undisturbed and silent. Then suddenly, one flame flickers, and every shadow scrambles. That single flame has more power than an ocean of darkness. That flame is you. Think also of salt in water. Though small, it changes the entire taste. Your presence shifts things, even if unnoticed. People may not understand why they feel unsettled around you, but it is the spirit inside you stirring the atmosphere. This is not to make you proud, but to remind you, attacks against you are often confirmations of the light you carry. The enemy does not fight empty vessels. He resists those filled with purpose. And here is another picture. Imagine stained glass in a cathedral. To the outside eye, it looks like dull pieces of color patched together. But when the sun shines through, a breathtaking image appears. Betrayal, misunderstanding, rejection, they are the broken fragments of your story. Yet when God's light shines through, people see beauty where once there were only cracks. This is why you must not let the reactions of others dim your glow. If they walk away, let them. If they misunderstand, endure it. If they speak against you, trust that light will have the final word. The same Christ who was rejected became the cornerstone. You walk in His pattern. And now I want to invite you into something deeper. Not a demand, not pressure, an invitation. If this word has touched your spirit, then let your response be like adding another flame to the fire. When you press like, it is as though you are saying, "Yes, I will keep shining." When you share, it is as though you place your flame in another's hands, giving them light for their dark cave. And when you subscribe, it is like planting yourself by a steady fire, ensuring your flame never goes out. Do not see these actions as mechanical. See them as symbolic, as acts of agreement with the truth that you are called to shine, even when darkness resists. Chosen one, your light cannot be hidden. Your presence itself terrifies the shadows, and every act of courage, every choice to stay luminous, is proof that you are exactly who God says you are. Remember this: shadows only prove the existence of light. If opposition rises, it means your glow is already breaking through. Do not shrink back. Keep shining, for heaven delights in your brightness, and the world desperately needs it. There is a hidden mercy in every test, though it rarely feels like it in the moment. Betrayal stings, misunderstanding bruises, rejection cuts deep. But if you look closer, you will see a hand shielding you even as the wound strikes. What felt like abandonment was often preservation. What looked like the collapse of trust was actually the covering of God. Sometimes, God allows the arrow to fly, but stops it short of piercing your heart completely. You feel the heat of the attack, but you are not consumed. You hear the lies whispered about you, but they do not define you. You experience the loss of a relationship, but you are not left without hope. Mercy quietly surrounds you, unseen, yet steadfast. It is written in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail." Lo, this is the reason you are still here. Not because the betrayals were small, but because God's mercy was greater. Not because the misunderstandings were easy, but because his compassion sustained you through them. Think of Joseph once more. His brothers sold him, but they could not kill the dream. Potiphar's wife accused him, but prison could not hold back his purpose. Every attack seemed to lower him, yet mercy was there in every step. When famine came, Joseph himself confessed that what others intended for evil, God had turned into good. Mercy turned pits into pathways and pain into provision. There is also the story of David hiding in caves from Saul. Saul's jealousy sought to take his life, yet God never handed David over. Mercy made sure that even when a spear was thrown, David escaped. Even when betrayal pressed in, mercy kept him alive for the throne God had promised. There is an image I want you to hold. Picture a glass shield, invisible to the eye, but strong enough to stop arrows. The arrows still fly. The sound still frightens, but none can pierce you. That invisible shield is God's mercy. Without it, the betrayal would have crushed you. With it, the betrayal becomes only noise, loud but powerless. Mercy also works in ways we cannot see. Sometimes it removes people from our lives before they can inflict greater harm. Sometimes it exposes lies before they grow roots. Sometimes it allows pain but limits its reach. Like a storm that rattles the house but never blows it down, mercy ensures you survive what was designed to destroy. Do not mistake survival for weakness. The fact that you are still standing is proof of strength and proof of covering. Many would have collapsed under the same weight. Many would have surrendered under the same fire. But you endured because mercy never left your side. Think again of Jesus at the cross. Betrayed, denied, abandoned, and yet mercy spoke even in his agony. Father, forgive them. Mercy is not just survival, it is transformation. It turns bitterness into compassion, wounds into wisdom, scars into testimonies. Chosen one, you may not always feel mercy, but it surrounds you like air. You may not always see it, but it guards you like a wall of fire. And every test you have endured so far has been proof. The hand of God has kept you from being consumed. Mercy is why you are still breathing, still hoping, still rising. It is the quiet strength that carried you through storms and the unseen anchor that will steady you for the road ahead. There are moments when heaven confirms what your heart already knows. You may doubt yourself. You may question the path, but then something happens, a word, a sign, an event that reminds you, you are chosen, and no one can take that away. Today's trial is not random. The sting of betrayal, the weight of disappointment, the ache of misunderstanding, all of these are prophetic confirmations that the mark of God rests on your life. For only the chosen face such fire, and only those destined for elevation endure such tests. The voice of God thundered in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine." And this word is more than comfort. It is a claim. You are called by name. Heaven's registry already has your identity sealed. No betrayal can erase it. No rejection can rewrite it. No accusation can silence it. Think of Moses. Pharaoh tried to kill him at birth. The desert tried to bury him in obscurity. Yet the burning bush was confirmation that he had never been forgotten. The test of waiting and wandering only prepared him for the voice that called him higher. Think of Gideon, hidden in a winepress, doubting himself, trembling under fear. Yet the angel of the Lord declared, "The Lord is with you." Mighty warrior. The trial did not disqualify him, it confirmed him. His weakness became the very stage where God displayed his strength. So it is with you. Every misunderstanding, every rejection, every door that closed was not God's silence. It was his confirmation. He was whispering, "You are mine. You are marked. You are chosen." Not. There is an image here. Picture a royal seal pressed into wax. Once the seal is stamped, no one can alter it without breaking the authority behind it. Your life carries such a seal. The trial you face today is not erasing it. It is pressing it deeper, making the mark even clearer. And now, I want you to step into alignment with that truth. Go into the comments and write the number 525. Why 525? Because 5 is the number of grace, and 2 is the number of confirmation. By declaring 525, you are saying, "Grace surrounds me, and God has confirmed my calling." It is a prophetic act, a reminder that your trials are not rejection, but affirmation. When you see your comment, remember that you are not abandoned, you are affirmed. When others see it, they too will be strengthened, knowing that what they suffer is not meaningless, but proof that they are set apart, chosen one. Today's pain is not random. It is a prophetic confirmation that heaven has already stamped your life with destiny. You are his, and nothing can break that seal. Think of this: a storm may bend the branches, but it cannot uproot a tree whose roots run deep. In the same way, the trials you face may shake your emotions, but they cannot undo what God has already planted inside you. Every hardship becomes another echo from heaven. Yes, you belong to me. Yes, you are marked. Yes, you are chosen. Hold this truth close. Let it steady your heart. For when the fire ends, you will see that the seal has only been pressed deeper. brighter, unshakable. There are seasons when separation feels like loss, but in heaven's design, it is actually elevation. Not every person who begins with you is meant to finish with you. Some hands you once held cannot walk into the next chapter. Some voices you once trusted cannot echo in the halls of your destiny. This truth is difficult because your heart longs for continuity. You wish that the ones you laughed with, cried with, and trusted deeply would remain forever. Yet the path of the chosen is marked by divine pruning. Just as a gardener cuts branches not to harm the tree, but to increase its fruit, God sometimes allows separation to make room for greater growth. As Jesus taught in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2, He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Pruning hurts, but it is purposeful. It removes what hinders, clears what blocks, and ensures that your future blossoms in fullness. Some people were only meant to be part of your root system, grounding you for a season, but not part of your branches, stretching into tomorrow. Think of Abraham. He carried Lot with him into a land of promise, but the herdsmen quarreled, and conflict rose. At last, they parted ways. It was only after Lot separated from Abraham that God said, "Now lift up your eyes and look north, south, east, and west. For all this land I will give you." The promise expanded only after the separation. There is an image here. Imagine an eagle's nest. When the eaglets grow, the mother stirs the nest, removing comfort, nudging them toward the edge. What feels like rejection is actually preparation for flight. In the same way, when people step away or when relationships shift, God is pushing you into a sky you could not reach while clinging to the nest. Sometimes separation comes through betrayal, sometimes through distance, and sometimes through silence. Each form feels painful, yet each carries the same truth. God is positioning you higher. If they had stayed, you might have leaned too much on them. If they had stayed, you might have missed the lessons of standing alone with God. David knew this when his own son Absalom turned against him. The heartbreak was real, but the throne was still secure. Separation did not cancel his calling, it clarified it. Those who could not honor the anointing were removed so that the ones who truly belonged could gather. It is tempting to chase after those who leave, to beg them to stay. But understand this: when God removes, it is mercy. When He allows departure, it is protection. For where He is taking you, not every companion can follow. Chosen one. See the separation not as a curse, but as a door. Yes, the silence aches. Yes, the absence is heavy. But with every goodbye, God is whispering, "Look higher, walk further, rise stronger. The path is narrow, and the crown is weighty. To carry both, you must travel light." That is why some connections must break, not to weaken you, but to lift you. Every release is a refining. Every departure is a divine exchange. What feels like subtraction is, in truth, multiplication waiting to unfold. Trust the pruning hands of God. They never take without planting something greater in return. Endurance is not glamorous, but it is glorious. To endure is to remain when others give up, to stand when the wind howls, to cling to faith when every voice tells you to let go. This is the crown reserved for the chosen, the crown that cannot be bought, only carried through trial. When you walk through betrayal and do not let bitterness own you, you endure. When misunderstanding rises and you keep your peace, you endure. When rejection tries to break you, but you continue to walk forward, you endure. Endurance is not passive, it is active. Trust in God's faithfulness. The Apostle James declares in his letter, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." Notice the promise, a crown, not of gold and jewels that fade, but of life itself, eternal, unshakable, radiant. Endurance is the path to coronation. It is the weight of trials transformed into the weight of glory. Think of Paul, shipwrecked, imprisoned, beaten, rejected by many. Yet he pressed forward, saying, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." He endured, and his words echo like a torch for us today. Endurance leads to finishing well. There is an image here. Picture a runner on a long marathon. Muskelsash, lungspurn. Sweat blinds the eyes. Yet step by step they move forward. Crowds may thin. Encouragement may fade. But the finish line draws nearer. The crown does not go to the fastest, but to the one who refuses to quit. Endurance is also like a tree in winter. To an outsider, it looks lifeless, no leaves, no fruit, bare branches against the cold sky. Yet, underground, life is alive. Roots deepen. Strength grows silently. When spring comes, the tree bursts into blossom. Endurance is winter's hidden work, preparing for spring's sudden beauty. Chosen one, your trials are not empty suffering. They are the training ground of endurance. Each time you refuse to surrender, you are weaving threads of glory into the crown that waits for you. Every tear becomes a jewel. Every scar, a testimony. Every weary prayer, a note of music in heaven's courts. Think of Jesus. The cross was the greatest act of endurance. Nails pierced his hands. Mockery surrounded him. The weight of sin pressed upon him. Yet he endured, for the joy set before him. And what was that joy? You, the redeemed, the restored, the chosen. His endurance became your salvation. So too, your endurance is not just for yourself. Others will look to your life and see faith that holds under pressure, hope that does not die, love that outlasts pain. Your endurance becomes their encouragement. Your crown becomes their vision of possibility. Do not despise the long nights, the unanswered prayers, the weight of waiting. Each moment is shaping your crown. Each step is proving your faith genuine. And when the day comes, when the Lord places the crown of life upon your head, you will know it was worth every tear, every battle, every trial. Chosen one, endure. For endurance is the bridge between suffering and glory, between testing and triumph, between the wilderness and the crown. And remember this, no crown is forged without fire. The very weight that tried to break you is the same weight that proves you worthy to wear it with honor. There is a warning written across the journey of every chosen life. Do not harden your heart. Delay can become danger. Rebellion can become blindness. To ignore the gentle nudge of God is to drift further from the light until you no longer see it. The truth is sobering. Mercy does not stay forever at the door. There comes a moment when repeated resistance causes the heart to grow numb, and a numb heart is the greatest tragedy, because it no longer feels conviction, no longer hears the whisper, no longer trembles at the holy. As it is revealed in the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as you did in the rebellion. The word is today, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Today, because each time you delay obedience, the edge of your sensitivity dulls. Each time you silence conviction, the voice of heaven becomes harder to recognize. Think of Pharaoh in Egypt. Plague after plague, he hardened his heart. What began as stubbornness ended as destruction. His refusal to heed the warnings cost him more than he imagined. So too, the chosen cannot afford to ignore God's voice, for your calling is weighty, your assignment urgent. But let us also see the other side. Conviction is not a curse, it is a gift. It means the door is still open. The Spirit is still near. The hand of God is still reaching. If you feel the weight of this word, it means mercy is at work. Heaven is saying, do not turn away now. This is the moment to step closer. There is an image here. Picture a lamp flickering in the wind. If ignored, it will go out, leaving darkness. But if shielded and fed with oil, it will burn brighter, steady and strong. Your obedience is the oil. Your surrender is the shield. And now, I want to invite you to do something that is more than symbolic. It is prophetic. If this word stirs your heart, let your response be like tending the flame. When you press like, imagine it as laying another log on the fire of your spirit, choosing to keep it burning. When you share, see it as taking a torch from your flame and handing it to another soul wandering in the dark. When you choose to subscribe, think of it as planting your roots near a river, ensuring you never run dry, but stay nourished for the journey ahead. And then, in the comments, write the simple words, "My heart is open." This is not ritual, it is declaration. You are saying to heaven, I will not harden myself. I welcome the shaping hand of God. These words, though small, open a wide door for grace to flow into your life. Chosen one, this is not about pressure. It is about invitation. The God who called you is still calling. The hand that shaped you is still reaching. Do not delay. Do not resist. For what you choose today will shape the crown you wear tomorrow. Your tomorrow is not distant. It begins with the choices you make right now. A soft heart today becomes a radiant crown tomorrow. And every whisper you honor today becomes a song of triumph in eternity. Even the smallest yes to God outweighs the loudest no from the world. Every surrendered step is building an unshakable testimony within you. Do not underestimate today's obedience. It is the seed of your greatest breakthrough. Trust is not built in a single day, nor is it proven in ease. It is forged in the wilderness, in the battles, in the waiting rooms of life where nothing seems certain. For the chosen, the greatest lesson is not simply to fight well, but to lean fully on God. The story of Joshua shows us this with clarity. He stood on the edge of the promised land, facing giants, fortified cities, and impossible walls. Yet his strength was never found in numbers, weapons, or strategy. His strength was in trust. Trust that the same God who parted the Red Sea would also bring down Jericho's walls. We read in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." This was not a suggestion. It was a command rooted in God's presence. Joshua could step forward into uncertainty because trust was his foundation. The promise was not that the path would be easy, but that he would never walk it alone. Think of how fragile human trust can be. Friends falter, loved ones disappoint, and even our own hearts fail us. Yet divine trust is different. It is steady as the mountain, deep as the ocean, certain as the sunrise. To trust in God is to tie yourself to the unmovable rock, to anchor your soul in waters that cannot swallow you. There is an image here. Imagine a child learning to swim. The waters feel terrifying. The body flails. Fear rises. But then the father's hand steadies them, holding firm beneath the surface. The child is not strong enough to float on their own, yet they are safe because of the father's strength. That is the life of trust. You may not feel strong enough to endure betrayal or rejection, but the Father's hand is steady beneath you. Trust also means surrender. It means accepting that you will not always understand the why of your trials. Job did not know why he suffered. Daniel did not know why lions' mouths opened near him. Yet their trust was the bridge that carried them through. Trust is often less about answers and more about presence, the presence of the one who never abandons you. Consider also the picture of a climber scaling a mountain. Each step higher requires a rope tied to something immovable above. Without that rope, one slip could mean disaster. With it, even a fall becomes temporary. Your trust in God is that rope, holding you when the climb feels impossible. Chosen one. Trust is what transforms betrayal from bitterness into wisdom. Trust is what takes misunderstanding and turns it into resilience. Trust is what steadies your trembling hands when the people you leaned on step away. It redirects your weight from fragile human foundations to the everlasting arms of God. So, in this season, let your heart be trained in trust. Not shallow trust that collapses under pressure, but deep trust that thrives in storms. For when all else shifts, the chosen one who leans fully on God will stand unshaken. And in time, that trust will not only sustain you, it will lead you into triumph. Trust is the quiet shield, invisible yet unbreakable. Every trial you pass through strengthens its frame, until your life itself becomes a testimony, unshaken, anchored, radiant in faith. Every trial has a horizon, and beyond that horizon waits glory. Though betrayal feels like ashes in your hands, though disappointment weighs like stone on your chest, there is a dawn rising over it all. For the chosen, the story never ends in defeat. From the ashes, beauty rises. From rejection, purpose unfolds. From pain, glory shines. This is the divine paradox. What seems like the end becomes the very beginning of a new chapter. The cross looked like finality, but resurrection turned it into victory. So too, your darkest moment is not a period, it is a comma in the sentence God is still writing. As the Apostle Paul proclaims in his letter to the Romans, Chapter 8, Verse 18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. No. Notice that the promise is not simply escape from suffering, but transformation because of it. Glory is not just waiting at the end of your journey, it is being formed within you even now. Every scar becomes a star in your crown. Every wound, a window for God's light to shine through. Think of the phoenix, a mythical bird that burns to ash, only to rise more radiant than before. That image echoes the truth of the chosen. Nothing truly ends in ruin. Fire may consume, but resurrection always follows. Your pain is the fire. Your future is the rising. Consider Joseph once again. Betrayed, forgotten, imprisoned, yet in one moment of divine timing, he was elevated to the highest place in Egypt. His past did not disqualify him, it prepared him. The pit was not his grave, it was his gateway. There is also Ruth, who faced widowhood and loss. Yet her faithfulness led her into the lineage of kings and ultimately the Messiah. Her sorrow was not wasted. Her loyalty through pain carved a path into eternal purpose. Your story carries the same thread. The betrayal you endured was not random, it was a passageway. The misunderstanding you carried was not wasted, it was refining. The rejection that broke your heart was not the end, it was repositioning. There is an image I want you to hold. Picture a field burned by fire. At first it seems destroyed, barren, lifeless. But in time, green shoots appear stronger, healthier than before. Why? Because the fire burned away pests and weeds, making the soil fertile for new growth. Your trial has done the same. Glory always follows fire. The weight of what you've endured is only a fraction of the brilliance that will rise from it. For every sleepless night, there will be songs of joy. For every tear, there will be rivers of gladness. For every scar, there will be shining testimony that declares, God was faithful all along. So, lift your head. The season of ashes is not your final chapter. The story of betrayal, misunderstanding, and rejection is transforming even now into a testimony of triumph. Heaven has marked you not only to endure, but to emerge radiant. Chosen one, stand tall, for the horizon glows with promise, and your destiny gleams brighter than the pain that tried to stop you. From ashes to crown, from rejection to glory, this is your story. And when you look back, you will see it clearly. Every broken piece became part of a mosaic more radiant than you imagined. Nothing was wasted, and every wound was rewritten into wonder by the author of your life. Chosen one, you have reached the end of this journey, but it is not truly an end. It is the continuation of your path, the reminder that even through betrayal, fire, and loss, you have been carried and shaped for greater things. Every scar on your heart is no longer just a wound, it is a testimony. Every sleepless night has become a seed for the dawn. Every moment of silence has been a training ground where your strength grew unseen. The pain did not bury you, it planted you. And now, new life is rising from the soil of your suffering. Your story was never meant to finish in the shadows. It was always meant to burst into light. You are still rising, and what lies ahead is brighter than what tried to break you. Now, pause with me. If these words have touched your spirit, let your response be like a final seal on this message. When you press like, picture it as lifting your torch higher for others to see. When you share, Imagine passing a spark of fire into another weary heart, helping them find their way. When you choose to subscribe, see it as stepping closer to a river of strength that will keep flowing into your life. And in the comments, write the words, "I am still rising." Say it with conviction. Say it as testimony to where you've been, and as prophecy for where you are going. Chosen one, this is your reminder. You are unshaken, unstoppable, unbreakable. Your destiny is not behind you. It is ahead, radiant with glory.